Oh, right now. Um, Namaste everyone. Welcome to Hindi University. Really excited to have all of you this Sunday. As you know, my name is Ashutosh, and we meet every Sunday 8 a.m. US Pacific time, which is time on the west coast of the US to learn about the Hindi language. For those of you who are new to Hindi University, you can learn more about us by going to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Hindi University. You can also go to our website, which is hindiuniversity.org, and find out all the information about HU, all the practice sessions that we have. There's a little bit of information for you in case you are completely new for Hindi University. And in case if you want to join the Sunday classes, like you can use the Zoom link or the meeting ID to join the Sunday classes. No prerequisite, regardless of your level, you should be able to join the Sunday classes. And in addition to that, if you want to join any of the practice sessions that we have at HU, we request you join one of the platform, whether it is the Discord or the WhatsApp community. It's a little bit of a private community, so you would like to enroll using this URL that you see, and then we'll ask you a couple of questions just to make sure you are a legitimate learner, and then you can be onboarded into different platforms. With that being said, as you know, this year we followed two major books, right? One is Pinku Learns Hindi, which is a book for Hindi beginners by Hindi University. And the second book is Elementary Hindi by Professor Richard Delacy and Sudha Joshi, Delacy being professor at the Harvard University for Hindi language. We almost finished the book, and we decided that rest of the year we'll try to cover some of the complex topics or some of the areas where you had difficulty, where you were like, okay, we went over it, but we want more exercises on this topic, or where it is a combination of multiple topics, right? Where sometimes you go through the book sequentially, but all of a sudden you start comparing, questions from chapter number 5 with 22. Okay, so something similar came up where one of the students, like when they were going over it, they inquired something. So today's class is really about revision of two topics actually, where we go over Hindi adjectives and abstract nouns, along with what are the direct and indirect objects in Hindi. Okay, certain things you can do in Hindi language which you would do it differently in English. Okay, so this is one of those scenarios where you mostly have to memorize it and sort of change the mindset that that's how it works in Hindi compared to English. Okay, so imagine you have this table in front of you where you have these expressions. Okay, they are written in Devanagari and Romanagari. I didn't write deliberately the translation of it, but we'll go over it. And then on the right hand side, you have another column where one sample example is given to you or an answer is given to you. Okay, on the first column, you will see sentences like माँ खुश है, भाई बीमार है, okay, John नाराज है और वे उदास हैं. Okay, you can tell that it's there is a use of there's a use of adjective there. Okay, but same things can be written slightly differently. Okay? You can say that माँ को खुशी है. Okay, or similarly, rest of the sentences can also be translated. Okay, but why do we have to do that, and how this works in English? Okay, why is it for English speaker, why is it usually slightly hard to kind of like translate it, not translate it literally, but like think about it in this way, where like in Hindi you can do both ways, but in English there are certain ways you can do it. Okay, so before we dig deeper into it, I'm going to just take some translations from you, and then we'll do the whiteboarding exercise, and by the end of this exercise you should be able to do all of these and much more. Okay, so Shan, I'm going to pick on you because I see your face. So first one, माँ खुश है. What does it mean?
Ma is happy.
Ma is happy. Very good, right? Mother is happy. And second one, भाई बीमार है.
Bhai is sick. Or
भाई is okay. Very good. Or भाई is sick. Sebastian G. Next one, John नाराज है.
I think John is angry.
Okay, John is angry or John is upset. Very good. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And the next one,
Uh,
Delia जी, वे उदास हैं.
They are sorry, English is missing.
Udas is sad, right? Sad. They are sad.
Dead, yes.
That's sad, right? Now, okay, so to know these things, like if you look at it, the first one is basically khush. Okay, माँ खुश है. So you use an adjective, and what are adjectives? These are concepts that describe the noun or the pronoun. Just like John is tall. Tall is describing the quality of John. Okay, Sarah is smart. Smart is describing the quality of Sarah. Okay. Similarly, when you're describing like the state of someone here, like माँ खुश है, right? This is a quality. She is happy. Okay. I'm clear about a particular topic. Clear is describing it, right? So that's about what I feel, right? So those are sort of your adjectives. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do the whiteboarding session, and hopefully you will all be able to sort of follow along what's happening here. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay. So typically, when native speaker or English speakers, when they want to describe the emotion, English speakers will often they will often describe the experiences directly. Okay, where the subject who's experiencing it, they will describe it. They can say I am happy, right? So they are using an adjective, I'm happy. Okay, or they will say they are upset or sad. You have a subject, okay, and then you have am, which is the verb, and you have an adjective. This is the structure. Very simple. There is no complication so far, which works quite well when you want to describe the, or you can say I am cold. Okay, I am cold. Okay, so in all the cases, if you notice it, these are your subject, I, they, and I again. Okay, so in English, the subject is sort of experiencing or embodying the emotion or the state. Okay, this is the state and this is the subject. This is how you will, say it in English. Okay, however, in Hindi, the subject can experience the state directly, okay, or indirectly. So same thing in Hindi can be said it in two different ways. English also, I'm sure there are scenarios where you can do it, but typically you will the subject will state it as it is. Okay. Now, what do you mean by indirectly? We'll dig deeper into it. Okay. But like simple, hopefully this should be very straightforward. You have done it even in the Pingulans Hindi, where we talk about I am pattern, where I am is मैं and whom. You have a मैं and then whom. Okay. So in Hindi, just like the same translation, you have a subject and then you have a verb here, and in between you have an adjective. So it's just like the order is changed for the same structure in Hindi. Okay. So if I were to say I am happy, Elizabeth ji, in Hindi it would be, try it out.
The direct one or the indirect one?
Direct one right now.
मैं खुश हूँ.
Very good, right? मैं खुश हूँ, and if you don't know the word for happy, you can just say मैं happy हूँ. Okay, awesome. Sheila ji, they are upset would be,
वो उदास है
Yes, I'm asking you. So if you have they are upset would be
वो उदास है
okay, वे उदास हैं और वे upset हैं. Very good, right? And the third one basically I am cold. Okay, Angela ji.
मैं ठंड हूँ
Okay. You can. I am cold. मैं cold हूँ, you can say that. But typically you would write it differently in Hindi. But okay, very good, right? So now when you are saying something directly, it's rather straightforward, right? The subject is experiencing or embodying the emotion directly. Okay. When you want to express it indirectly, you need to know a few things, which is basically you need to know the abstract noun that is experienced by the direct object here. Okay, so I'm going to erase it and then I'm going to dig deeper into first the table for your adjective and abstract noun. Okay, and then we'll go over the examples of how to sort of structure this thing. Okay, so now first thing is, imagine you have a situation where you want to have a table for adjective and abstract nouns. Okay, abstract nouns. So same thing where we said मैं खुश हूँ or I am happy. In the abstract noun, equivalent to happy will be. Who would like to take it? Pass. Shan.
Kushi? No, I don't know.
You can go with English first. So happy would be which one?
Happiness?
Very good. Happiness. Happiness. Okay. So where happy is describing the quality, happiness is state of being. State of being happy is described as happiness. Something, if you were to look at it more deeply, short duration versus longer duration. Okay, your state of being. Okay, state of being. Similarly, if you have, sad, equivalent would be
Sadness?
sadness. Very good. State of being sad. So you can tell that English sometimes it follows the pattern. Same thing in Hindi you will notice, right? So the NESS, sadness, basically are your abstract noun, something you cannot touch. You can experience it, but you cannot touch it, right? Similarly, you have lovely. Like you can say that Dan is lovely versus state of being lovely.
loveliness
Huh?
loveliness
Okay, loveliness, or the other way would be what is the equivalent? Love itself is an abstract noun, basically, right? So that's basically your equivalent abstract noun. Okay. Right now, I'll make a table so you can see the first pattern in English. Then the same thing will do it in Hindi. Some of them follow the pattern, some of them do not. Okay, but at least it will help you. Okay. Then we'll go over just like how the subject experience something directly. We said it in English. In Hindi, as I said, you can say both the things directly and indirectly. Directly in Hindi, you will still use the adjectives. When you want to convey it indirectly, you will use the abstract nouns. Okay, and that's what we'll be covering it, and that's why it's important to do the table. Okay, let's just do a fun similar one. Tired. When you want to say I am tired, I can simply say मैं tired हूँ. Okay, or मैं थका हूँ, and the equivalent would be tiredness. Okay, tiredness. Okay, and another one, you have surprise. Okay, which is मैं अचंभित हूँ, that's a Hindi word, और मैं surprised हूँ, और आश्चर्यचकित हूँ, longer word, versus your abstract noun, which is your surprise itself. Okay, These are just simple examples to kind of get started with the adjectives and the equivalent abstract nouns. Okay. It's very important to know both. Even though in English, when a subject is experiencing something, they will mostly use the adjectives only. But even then, there are other ways English sort of helps you to, if you want to just like, if you want to say happiness is a virtue, right? You will use an abstract noun to describe that. You're not going to take the adjective, right? If you want to say love is an emotion, you're using an abstract noun. You're not using the adjective to go over it. So there are definitely value the abstract nouns are adding in English language, right? Now let's do the equivalent of similar thing in Hindi first. So I'm going to erase them and I'm going to write the adjectives and abstract nouns in the Hindi language. So let's say you have a lot of them follow the I pattern. So you take the pareshan, which is मैं परेशान हूँ, which is you can say what is pareshan?
Worry.
Okay, worry. Okay, what is the equivalent abstract noun?
Worry.
Yeah, in Hindi would be
Parishani.
very good. Pareshani. So you have pareshan and you put e, pareshani. And a lot of them follow this pattern where you put e at the end and it becomes the abstract noun. Pareshan, pareshani. Okay. You have udas, which we covered it. Sad, and then the equivalent abstract noun would be
Delacy.
very good.
Udasi.
Udasi. Still following the same pattern. Udas and udasi. Okay. Sad and sadness. This is, a state of being worried. Okay. I'm worried. Okay. Let's just do some more. We mentioned about भाई बीमार है और मैं बीमार हूँ. Okay. What is the equivalent abstract noun?
Bimari.
Mari.
Bimari. Okay, bimar is I am sick, and sickness. Bimar, bimari. Let's just do some more. Heran. What is heran?
Shocked.
Yeah. What is the equivalent abstract noun?
Harani.
Herani, very good. Herani. Herani. Heran and Herani. So far, all of them following this pattern, right? In fact, when we say about khush, it would be
Pushy.
khushi, khushi, happiness, khushi. Okay. Anyone else can think of some more?
What happens if it ends in an like naya or like chota? Like, is you just add an e even if it ends with a vowel? Or
Which one? Which one? Say one more time.
you say chota for small? Oh,
Okay.
like
That's
what
a
is-
different. The
Oh.
chota is just really like it's an adjective, but like choti, you will use it with the feminine sort of your noun, like chota ladka, choti ladki, right? The equivalent abstract noun we're not talking about, like I mean you can say maybe you will come up with it, right? But this is I think what you are doing is just changing how the adjectives get inflected when it is used with different nouns. Chota, choti, choti.
What about naraz?
Yeah?
What about naraz?
Yeah, let's do that. What is naraz?
Angry.
Huh? Naraz. And what is the equivalent abstract noun?
Is it Narazi?
Okay, narazgi. Okay, slightly different.
Narazi.
Narazgi. Okay, narazgi. Okay, but so again, a lot of them they follow the pattern where you would put e at the end. Udas, udasi, bimar, bimari, heran, herani, khush, khushi. Okay, now sometimes it's easier in English because like you have sad, sadness, happy, happiness, right? Lonely, loneliness, right? Tired, tiredness. But in Hindi, not all of them will follow the same pattern. And I think it came up in one of the earlier lecture also. But like imagine you know, you are comfortable with this pattern, and all of a sudden you have khush and khushi, right? Which is like I'm happy and happiness is there. But what about like the sad and sadness, right? So you have sad and sadness. What is the sad in Hindi?
Dukhi.
Da.
Very good. Okay, you can say okay, dukhi. And what is sadness?
Dukh.
Dukh. Very good. So now the natural question is, Ashuji, you did all of it, and they were all following the E pattern. You had, udas, udasi, khush, khushi, but all of a sudden this pattern flipped. You have sad is like main dukhi hu, versus sadness is dukh. Okay, but that's how it is. Like that's how they designed it. State of being dukhi in Hindi is dukh. Okay, and the adjective remains dukhi here. So if you want to put it, it doesn't follow the pattern. You can just call it an exception category. Okay. Similarly, you have khush we mentioned. Okay, but you can also use sukhi. What is sukhi? What is sukhi?
Happy.
Happy, yeah. And then equivalent abstract noun would be
Sukh.
right? Sukh. Okay. बहुत सुख है, right? Sukh. Okay. And then there's one more I will cover, which is experience. Okay. I am experienced. If you want to say it, I am experienced. What is the word for that?
Anubhavi.
There you go. Okay. I am experienced. The word is anubhavi. Okay. Versus I have experience. That would be
Anubhav.
anubhav. Okay. So there were adjectives where you put e to create the abstract noun, but on the other hand, there were patterns where you removed the e to come up with the abstract noun. Okay, so it often puzzles as you're learning the language, but that's how it is. There is not much you can do to simplify it. You mostly have to just remember this part rather than fighting it, and then it becomes easier basically. So I'm going to take a pause here because it's a lot of theoretical going over the things. So if you have any questions before we start making sentences, okay, it's important that you know all of it. So if there's any questions, we should definitely take that.
I have a question, Ashutosh.
Yes. Yeah.
So quite often when you're learning things like this, it's easier to remember the exceptions. If that's the smaller list, is there a smaller list for this one?
So unfortunately, these are the most commonly used one where you will be feeling exceptions, but there's definitely not all the adjectives you'll put e at the end, right? There will be definitely different ones which are like which are not following the pattern,
Okay.
right? So for example, nirash versus nirasha, right? So that's another one, right? Which is basically not following the pattern, nirash and nirasha, right? I'm disappointed and disappointment, right? But don't worry about it, right? It's the key is, here's what I think will help. If you put it into a structure which is मैं हूँ और वह है, then it will be easier for you to remember, and then it will become part of your sort of your memory. Like मैं दुखी हूँ, मैं सुखी हूँ, मैं अनुभवी हूँ, मैं खुश हूँ, मैं नाराज हूँ. Then you don't have to memorize it because it will come naturally to you.
Yeah.
So my suggestion is, as you are going over it, it's hard to remember the table, but it's important, or it's easier to remember the phrases, right? So if you just say it a few times in this table, you may have a table in front of you, whichever book you may be using it. But if you start making phrases, it will just come naturally. Then you will not even have to think about, you don't have to think about the grammar rules, because there's so many grammar rules. I mean, even I forget the grammar rules, right? And I have to look up, right? So it's and I mean, again, the goal is not to really to remember the grammar rules, right? I mean, it's to communicate. So any other good question though? Any other?
So Ashutoshi, are the abstract nouns more commonly used in conversation rather than the direct nouns?
So that's what I'm going to go over now. So
Okay,
now you
okay.
see that in English, as I said, the subject is experiencing them, right? So you can say it, I'm happy, or in English mostly you will use abstract noun in a different way in English, right? But mostly when a subject is experiencing something, you will use the adjectives mostly. In Hindi, you can use both. You can use adjective and you can use abstract noun. Okay. So basically in Hindi, I can say I am sad, I am like मैं दुखी हूँ, मैं सुखी हूँ, मैं अनुभवी हूँ. In Hindi, the second thing that is happening here is these abstract noun can come to me. Okay, the feeling of sadness can come to me, almost like a traveling to you, or a experience, right? It's coming to me as I'm aging, okay, or learning more, right? The same thing, the state of happiness is coming to me. I'm the recipient of it. Okay, I'm becoming the recipient of it. So think of it as like in Hindi, there is a notion that somebody will be recipient of these abstract nouns. So let me write it down. So someone is the recipient of. So in Hindi, somebody is recipient of the abstract noun. Is the recipient of the abstract noun. Okay, so it's almost like when you, which is harder for a native English speaker, because that's not how the Hindi is structured. It's almost like, to me, you want to say, to me there is happiness. In Hindi, this is how you can say that. To me there is happiness, or to me, there is experience, or I have experience. Okay, or to me there is sadness. There is a feeling of sadness. Okay, where I am the recipient of it. Okay.
G,
Yes.
when I see this, the way this looks to me, it's like, to me, happiness happens.
Yes, you can. I mean, I mean, again, however you do it, like in like structure it. But in English, you will not really, you will just simply say it like, I'm happy, right? But how you sort of, I mean, Hindi, you will say it in using abstract noun, which is basically, we'll do the translation, but the literal translation, you can do it the way you are describing it, or, this way. Either way is like, it's a broken translation for sure, right? But there is a way, at the end of the day, what you're trying to convey is this person, to me, the indirect object, is the recipient of abstract noun. That's what you're trying to convey. Right, JDG?
Hanji.
Yeah.
Could I make a comment?
Yes.
The reason this is so hard, I think, for native English speakers is that this is actually a different worldview. This is a whole other way of looking at life rather than just a grammatical structure.
Yeah. Yeah.
If anybody wants to know why this happens, I would refer them to chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita. Provides an
Okay.
excellent rationalization for this. Sorry, I just had to say that. I just had
Okay,
to.
no worries. No worries. Okay. So to me, okay, so basically now you would think about, um, I'm going to take another detour here before I sort of jump into the translation part. I know translation would be rather easier, but it's important for you to know that the direct and the indirect object here. So if you guys remember, we did an example, which is he, let's say, gives a gift. Okay, you have a simple English sentence. He gives a gift. Okay, what is the subject here? What is the object here? And what is the verb here? Okay, let's see somebody who's not tried it before. Malaji, you want to give it a try? He gives a gift. What is the subject here?
Wah.
Vah, very good. Right? So he is a subject. And what is the object here?
Gift.
Gift. Gift is something that is given, right? It's an object.
Right.
And what is the verb here?
Give, which is Dana.
Very good. So you have a subject which is vah, you have a verb which is dena, and to give, and you have a gift which is an object. And gift is often described as a direct object, which is receiving the action of the verb to give. Okay, let's say the same
What's the Hindi
sentence.
word again?
Huh?
What's the Hindi word for gift again?
What is the
What's your
word?
Hindi word for gift?
Oh, tofa.
Tofa.
Yeah, tofa. Okay, so almost like an Urdu word. It is used in Hindi also. It's assimilated in Hindi, right? So it's now let's say the same sentence is written as, we don't know who is receiving the gift. Okay, we just know he gives a gift. Okay, so right now in this sentence, the way it is written, there is a subject, there is a verb, there is a direct object. Okay, so let's say now he gives a gift to Sarah, for example. Who is receiving the gift? Malaji again. Who is receiving the gift?
Sarah.
Sarah is receiving it. So Sarah is receiving the gift, which makes Sarah. What is Sarah then?
An object as well, in the object as well.
It's an object, but it is an indirect object. It's an indirect object. What is being given, it becomes your direct object. Who is receiving it, it becomes your indirect object. Right? So in Hindi, oftentimes when you're, describing the emotions or these feelings, somebody is receiving those indirect, the indirect object is the recipient of those emotions. So sadness, happiness, loneliness, tiredness, somebody is receiving those emotions. That's another way to express it. Versus like मैं खुश हूँ, मैं उदास हूँ, मैं दुखी हूँ, मैं बीमार हूँ. Okay, मैं बीमार हूँ could be like, to me, there is sickness, right? So when you are thinking in those lines, this is the indirect object. Okay, so when you want to say the indirect object is experiencing this feeling, this indirect object is often governed by ko. Okay, this often governed by ko, or rather to me. Okay, so if you want to say मैं बीमार हूँ differently, and it will be followed by ko. मैं will be followed by ko, and it will become
Go.
मुझको. Very good. it becomes mujhko, or you can say mujhe. Okay, you can say mujhko or mujhe. And what is the abstract noun, Malaji?
When you say the abstract noun, what do you mean?
When I say bimar, मैं बीमार हूँ, bimar is an adjective.
Right. Bimari.
Very good. So you will say मुझे बीमारी है. Okay, मुझे बीमारी है. So the indirect object is experiencing this state. Okay, so that's in Hindi. Basically, there are both ways: the direct way, where you use an adjective, or the indirect way, where the indirect object is receiving or is the recipient of the abstract noun. Okay, let me take a pause because I don't want you to. Yes, Sharanji.
So I have really unstable internet today, but I really want to get this question in if it's okay.
Yeah, please. Why not?
Coming back to this kush and cushy.
Uh-huh.
If I went somewhere, somebody says to me, "How are you?"
Uh-huh.
I don't really want to answer, "I'm fine." I don't want to just say "मैं ठीक हूँ."
Uh-huh.
I want to say something like "मैं यहाँ आकर खुश हूँ."
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So
Are you
can,
saying that I could change that into "मुझे यहाँ आकर खुशी है"?
yeah.
Both
So
things will mean the same, or there is a slight difference?
subtle difference, but to a listener, it's the same thing. Okay. The slight difference is the duration of the happiness. Okay. In the second one, when you say मुझे यहाँ आकर खुशी हो रही है, okay, let's say you are continuing to experience it and you want to say it in continuous, which means that it's not like a point in time thing, it's a continuous thing. It's the duration of your state of being happy is longer.
Okay, so grammatically it's correct, but it would sound better if I would say खुशी हो रही है.
That's correct. मुझे आपसे मिलकर, let's say I'm meeting you after you've known each other for so many years. Let's say if we meet in person, I'll say मुझे बहुत आपसे मिलकर बहुत खुशी हो रही है. Okay, so I can say मैं खुश हूँ. Okay, मैं आपसे मिलकर खुश हूँ. Okay, versus मुझे खुशी हो रही है. So that's the thing. Like I would lean towards I'm the recipient of this abstract noun or this feeling. Okay, and Hindi speakers will naturally lean towards the second, the later part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Yeah. Anyone else? Any questions? Okay, so as I said, when you want to use the abstract noun, which is the indirect way in Hindi, this indirect object is governed by ko. So let's say John is experiencing something. John will be followed by ko, which will be followed by your abstract noun. Okay, John ko, and then followed by, because it's a masculine singular, it's hai. Okay, so you can say John को दुख है, John को चिंता है, okay, John को परेशानी है. Okay, think about all the the abstract noun that we did. Okay, John को बीमारी है. Okay, and even the other one, which does not follow the abstract the pattern, John को अनुभव है. Okay, John को अनुभव है, और John को खुशी है. Okay, John को खुशी है, और John सुखी है. Okay, John सुखी है. Okay, any questions on this one? If anyone thinks we went too fast.
This structure with John Ko, It's the same not only with emotions. I think if I want to say, I don't know,
Yes.
the word fever, for example, it's the same, right?
Which one?
Can I
Fever.
say fever? Yeah, Jonko fever here.
That's correct. That is
Yeah.
correct. It's not just with the emotion, it's also
Mhm.
with some of the possession, like John ko bukhar hai or bimari hai. So it's not just like the experience only, right? So that is correct. Okay. So now the summary, if you don't remember anything, the summary is there are direct and indirect way of experiencing or conveying this thing in Hindi. Okay, in English you would mostly lean toward the direct way. Mostly, I'm sure there are exceptions, but mostly you lean towards one way, right? If your happiness level is like I am happy, it's also be used to convey that, like I'm happy to meet you, I'm glad to meet you. You will say the same thing versus like मुझे खुशी हो रही है. Yeah. So you have to just remember it, just as like a new way of doing it in Hindi, right? So that's why it's now coming back to the original exercises that was there, okay, that we were covering. So I'm going to share my screen, and then if you have other sentences, we should do that. So now if you have, first one was माँ खुश है. That's your direct way of saying it in Hindi. माँ खुश है. The indirect way you said is माँ को खुशी है. Okay. Now you have भाई बीमार है. Okay. Dev Kripa, can you unmute yourself? How would you say this in indirect way? भाई बीमार है, just like this way. How would you say it? Your volume, I can hear I cannot hear your voice, but I can see you talking. If there's a microphone issue, you can type it also. That's totally okay. Very good, right? Very good. Very good. Let's see who else can cover. Anita ji?
The next one?
No, this only, because she only wrote it. You can speak it.
Oh, भाई को बीमारी है.
Very good, right? So that's the indirect way. By your indirect object governed by को, भाई को, and then abstract noun है, भाई को बीमारी है. Next one. Let's see who would do it. Someone who's not done before. Veera ji, this one. John नाराज है.
नमस्ते जी. जॉन को नाराजगी है.
John को नाराजगी है. There you go. Amazing. Okay.
Ashu ji.
Yes.
Sorry, so this is just a very special, a very unique ending, which is that the g and the e.
Yes. Yes, that is correct. John को नाराजगी है. Okay. I mean,
Narazi. Narazi is not a word, is it?
I have to look it up, right? I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I have heard narazgi more, but narazi also, I would think it would fly as well. But I have to look it up myself whether you can do narazi. Okay, I have heard typically ऐसी क्या नाराजगी है. Okay, but I can look it up about whether narazi is also considered like a valid Hindi vocabulary abstract noun or not.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, let's look at this one. Risha ji, or why don't Susan ji? You not tried anything. वे उदास हैं.
Ashuji, was that me?
Yes, Susan ji. Yeah, वे उदास.
So, उनको उदासी है.
There you go. उनको उदासी है. Okay, so you have a वे governed by को. वे plus को becomes उनको. Abstract noun है. उनको उदासी है. Okay, I'm going to do some more. That some of you asked. Okay, let's say you have. Okay, so now you have a longer sentence. बच्चा किस बात पर उदास है. I want all of you to try it out. You have this sentence. बच्चा किस बात पर उदास है? You have to convey it in an indirect way. I want all of you to try it out and write it in the chat. बच्चा किस बात पर उदास है? Keep it simple, like this is the direct one. All you have to do is indirect. You take the indirect object. Okay. Okay. Yes, udasi is the correct. The awesome. Okay, Mike G Fremont. You want to unmute yourself? बच्चा किस बात पर उदास है? And if you are, for some reason, Leela ji,
Yes, namaste.
yes, namaste. How would you say this one? बच्चा किस बात पर नाराज है?
बच्चे किस बात को which one we doing? Udasi?
Yes.
The बच्चे को किस बात पर उदासी है?
There you go. So you have bacha. In the indirect one, it will become the indirect object followed by ko. And because it's bacha plus ko, this bacha becomes oblique case and it becomes
बच्चे
बच्चे को and then किस बात पर उदासी है. There you go. बच्चे को किस बात पर उदासी है. ओके. और बच्चे को किस बात की खुशी है. बच्चे को किस बात की खुशी है. Let's say a kid is experiencing happiness, right? I mean, and then like, you know, किस बात की, you know, किस बात, डायरेक्ट वुड भी किस बात पर खुश हो, या किस बात पर खुश है और किस बात की खुशी है. Right? So you can literally replace all the abstract nouns here. Okay? किस बात पर उदासी है, किस बात की नाराजगी है, किस बात की चिंता है.
Okay. How would you translate that?
So the translation, I would encourage you to not even do that because this will throw you off. Because this is, it's hard, right? I mean, how would you? It's like, so the translation. Okay, I'll try it out. Like, you know, to the kid. This is how I would do. किस बात की उदासी है. To the kid, what is causing the udasi is like the whatever the feeling of being sadness. What is causing sadness? I know it's a broken translation, but that's how you are trying to force yourself to put it there. Yeah? बच्चे को, anybody else, feel free to try it or jump in here. But this is a broken translation, right? Because it's how you are, you know, basically forcing it. Like what is causing the indirect object to suffer through this thing? Okay. If you have any other sort of and I'm not sure if Sharmila ji, any other questions you would like to throw in here, which we want to practice?
अभी नहीं अभी कुछ नहीं.
अभी नहीं तो okay, let's do couple of more. Okay, and then we will do the reverse. We'll do the indirect one and you have to say it directly. Okay, the indirect one is So indirect one would be, let's say you have Peter को 2 महीने से ये बीमारी है. पीटर को 2 महीने से ये बीमारी है. Okay, पीटर को 2 महीने से ये बीमारी. Doesn't have to be exact 1-to-1, but at least try it out. आन्या जी, पीटर को 2 महीने से ये बीमारी है. This is your indirect version, and you have to come up with the direct version. पीटर को
पीटर 2 महीने से ये बीमार है.
Okay, so you will not put ये, but absolutely right. पीटर 2 महीने से
बीमार.
There you go. पीटर 2 महीने से बीमार है. Beautiful. पीटर 2 महीने से बीमार है. Okay, that's your direct version of it. Okay, Shanji, any examples you want to try it out?
No, I want to ask Sharon's question again because I already forget the answer. So if I want to say Peter, like, how do you know when you're trying to speak which one to choose? If it's the of those two sentences.
So when do I use which version?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, when do I say पीटर को 2 महीने से बीमारी versus पीटर 2 महीने से बीमार हूँ? It's a very good question actually, because when you're speaking it, you're not thinking about, oh, let me use adjectives or abstract noun, right? You want to just use it. So for the most part, I would say, if you, I mean, till you are even advanced intermediate level, I would say you should stick with the direct version. Okay, that's your most comfortable position basically. And then as you get handle on all the nuances, then you can start taking risk of using the indirect one. Once you feel you master the concept quite well, and you can, when somebody is conversing to you, not you are speaking it, when somebody else in the Hindi conversation, when you're having with the native speakers, and you can see all the nuances of them using and you are able to get it, then you should definitely start taking the risk of trying the indirect one.
Okay.
Yeah, because then you will feel much more comfortable that, you know what, I get it. I know that he is used even though I'm not, without paying too much attention, but if you can get it, then I think it's definitely the time for you to start using the other one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Jackie ji.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you said to let you know when it was 5-2.
Yeah, 8:55. Okay. So we'll stop the broadcast and we'll take questions from the group. Folks who join using live on Facebook, thank you so much. Essentially, as I said, just remember, if it is hard, stick with how it works in English. You can stick with the first pattern only. Second pattern is there because it's being used in Hindi quite widely and it's common as well. So you cannot ignore it. You have to learn it. And but it's important that you play around with it. So what I would say is I'm going to post some exercises on our WhatsApp and Discord, so look it around and then at least finish this one. Yeah, so I'm going to, and if you have any more questions that you want to cover from now until end of the year, definitely post it so we can do the revision of those topics. Okay, so I'm going to stop the broadcast and we'll take questions internally from the group.